The hotel still looks like a hotel, I think. Kinda dark. A little office behind the front desk. Supply closet, hiding in a shadow. Rooms on the second story. But not like guts and blood. Her body is gone, and instead it's all, I don't know, normal. Ugly. Green carpet instead of curly hairs. Brown wood instead of wet bone. A brass gate around the elevator, made of actual brass. But it stinks like death in here. There's blood on the floor, but not like it should be. It's dark and drying and oozing. Tumors force their way out through wet holes in the green carpet. All the wood is warm to the touch. I swallow hard and suppress a shudder. There's a special one upstairs, all ready. A special room, I mean. I know it's the guests. I knew it was special. The other doors were normal, other than the scabs, but room 4 has a perfect purple door. Everything's ready and waiting. Waiting. I waited in the last lobby for so long. No one came. The hotel kept rotting and stinking and leaking, and all the lights went out, one by one, and still no one came. Then the cold got in. The wind blew in the snow. I let it bury me. There's nowhere to go. Not really. I had terrible dreams about a forest, a fire, and monsters in the night. But I didn't get to play. That was before I was born.
Is this the hotel?
Finally. I can't stop myself from rushing to her, giggling, ready to pull her up to her room right now by her sleeve.
Aren't I supposed to check in first?
I shake my head, and I give her the old hop, slow blink, and grin. I'm sure the concierge will be back just as soon as you're settled. She shrugs and follows me up to the sweat-stained stairs to her room. Room 4. With the pretty purple door. But she doesn't go in. She goes stiff, tight-lipped and shaking her head at me. I tell her, yeah, this one's hers. But she just stands there like a freak. I open the door for her, sharply enough to startle her out of her damage. I go in, ahead of her, into the dark room. See? Nothing to be afraid of in here. Well, now there is. After forever, she finally steps into her tiny room. Smaller and smaller than Michael suspects. It's a lot of things she isn't going to expect. The hotel is going to reduce her, rot her from the inside out. She left me a bucket of green glowing paint in my supply closet. I emptied it onto the walls. It got everywhere. It left hairy burn stains on the carpet. But Michael doesn't notice. She doesn't notice there's no bed, no furniture, not even a bathroom. The light hurts her eyes when she clicks it on. You can almost hear the toxic waste glow. She claps a hand to her suddenly sweaty face and her knees sag just a little. I swing the door closed. She's trapped in here, and it's getting so hot. It's not that bright, Michael baby. That's the paint. How's your head? You feeling a little woozy? You better sit down, girl, before... Yeesh. She tried to catch herself, stuck her arm straight out and locked it at the elbow. She pushed her hand through the skin of her fingers and it slid right off up to her elbow. It must have hurt a whole lot, 'cause she jerked her greasy, meaty arm to her chest when she fell the rest of the way to the floor. 4 teeth flew right out of her mouth. The real problems began when she tried to leave. She wobbled to her knees, okay, but left a lot of her hair on the carpet. The skin on her good hand was already loose and full of some fluid her body decided it didn't need anymore. It popped when she grabbed the doorknob. Her fingernails hit the ceiling with soft taps when she tried to shake the pain away. Something white mixes with her tears, and she looks around the room, half blind.
How do I make it stop? Please. Please.
Fear and pain and death has gotten her sweaty enough that even her nice blazer is soaked and soiled. Everything inside of her has started to leak out everywhere outside of her. Michael's fleshy meat, usually a healthy red, is oozing a brackish slurry onto the floor. Her breath comes out rancid and wheezing, followed quickly by her mealy tongue. She finally collapses into several juicy pieces in the middle of her room. After not very long at all, what's left of her is easily collected into the warm, glowing paint can. It feels good to be back at it. I was built for this. I just know next time it'll be the 3 of us together. I whisper to what's left of her as she sloshes around, staring up at me with one angry, free-floating eyeball. We should do this again sometime. I like the can the hotel gave me so much. I give it a sticky little kiss before I give the room one more coat of paint. In just the right shade of Michael Booker.
My eyes focus. I can't see anything, but I can feel that I'm in a small furnished room. I step out of my office and into the lobby, compelled. Something out here is sick. The hotel still bleeds something thick, and her drywall stinks of infection and heat. The carpets are a pale and nauseous green. The light is dim, and the darkness threatens the corners of our vision every time we breathe, or every time she does. Wallpaper the color of nicotine-stained teeth peels and bubbles. Everything is slick or wet, like a wet cat that clawed its way out of a burlap bag in a river. Something sputters and groans in the bowels of the building beyond. The hotel is very sick. We bleed together. Matching wounds that throb with the same cosmic heartbeat. Blood and worse pushes itself out of the tingling spot on my face. I touch the gory mess where my eye used to be. Some minor pain sticks with you longer than you ever expected. Some total devastations can be shrugged off, but each day begins and turns to comforting night, and somewhere near or far a guest dies a fantastic and horrifying death. We bleed, we bend, we break. It begins again. I push my fingers into the mess and scoop out what I find there. It hurts like hell, but that doesn't matter. Not here. Free of gore and flesh and bits of bone, I feel almost professional again. But the bloodstains have spread, and I don't think the water in here will wash it off. Something groans closer now, and it's not the pipes. Fresh blood drizzles out of my exposed eye socket, and I straighten my tie with my red right hand. A glinting gold shape shoots past me. It dances in the corner of my eye, chasing its own echo, testing my reserve. My hair whips me in the face, and streaks of dark blood streak away from my drizzling socket in thick arcs. But always it is just out of sight. I strike then, where I cannot see, with one swift motion. Enough! A large beetle with golden wings that flick and flit from its bulbous body thuds onto the sickly front desk. It is hard and shiny and squat. Its little legs work quickly to scoot it along in a simple kind of shuffle. If you squint at it just so, the end of the horn drawn away from its face looks almost like a desk belt button. It looks at me, or I'm reflected in it, and it opens its wings and takes off, shooting past me aggressively, toward my private office. But it's gone then, as suddenly as it appeared, and something else lands with a soft tap. Flitting out from beneath my private office door, a small, clean card. Subtle off-white coloring, tasteful thickness, no watermark though. She never was very good at branding. It's rougher than it looks, but the texture is soft, smooth under my thumb. Its corners don't bend at my touch. Perfect. Once this was everything. The very idea that I could take something with me between hotels was one that came slowly. It's a gift the lobby boy has always had, I think. But that gift is a curse for him. A tool to maintain control. A weapon. I suppose my yearning for control is my gift. But somewhere in between killing and dying over and over and over, something happened. I flick it once and shake it, unimpressed at its mendacity. This turned into a piece of paper. Even the name on the card. And we turned into... I can't read the name on this card. What happened in between? What happened in between? Is this the hotel? Very well. If I must follow this through to the bitter end. I let the card fall to the filthy, bloody floor. They never said anything anyway. The names never mattered. We don't even have names. We're just her rotten puppets. The many from the one. The duck decoys who one day quacked a question and stopped laying the golden eggs. Do you have a reservation? I say, crossing the dying lobby. You don't need one. Her pretty smile fades. I can show you to your room right away, Ms. Booker. Aren't I supposed to check in first? I take her face gently in my hands. You already have. You just don't know what side of the door you're on. I push my hands together, and she struggles against me, slapping my arms. How do I make it stop? I don't open my mouth so much as I unhinge my jaw. Flat and jagged teeth, too many to count, hold her head in place as I change my grip to her shoulders, then her waist. It's a slow process, and though they are quickly muffled as I swallow her whole, Michael Booker never stops screaming. The side of my face tingles lightly, and I can't quite remember what happened in the woods. Something happened in between killing and dying and killing and dying and killing and dying. What was it? What happened in between? What happened in between? But before I can remember who I'm supposed to be, I'm whisked back to the black field. And gone is Michael, the hotel, and all. What happened in between? What happened in between? What happened in between? What happened in between?
Created by Veronica, California and Mark Whitten. Produced by Veronica, California and Jay and Ibis. Written by Veronica, California. The manager, Kelly Nienaltowski. The lobby boy, Mark Whitten. The owner, Graham Rowat. The bellhop, Rissa Montañez. The concierge, Damon Alums. The auditor, Bailey Wolfe. And Christa Lewis. Music by Lauren Picorni and West Rodri. Special guest composer, Zach Tatom-Drake. Art direction by Izzy Filthyguts Chavez. Staff writer, Lily Bensinger. Associate producers, Mark Whitten and Pacific Obadiah.
We sit in silence in an ugly-looking car with rows of dumb old wooden benches and big windows. I liked watching the city. The concrete and iron reminded me of bones, and there was even guts sometimes. Crazy monsters smash themselves to death trying to get us on the train. There weren't any people in the city, so they must have been pretty worked up seeing us. It was nice to see the blood again, and in so many colors. But we left the city a while ago. We rode for a long time. The closer to its border we got, the more its buildings were weathered down to clusters of tiny wooden houses. The old streets running by the tracks got broken up with dry bush and creeping vines. Thick green vines with sharp thorns hiding behind their leaves. These vines snake their way through the cracked and rotting neighborhood. It chokes the houses at the end of a cul-de-sac. It crumbles chimneys and mangles lanterns all the way down Main Street. The vines are dry and cracked, older than any of the buildings, far as I can tell. There aren't lights in the whole town, and it's getting darker. The train has lights in it, so I still catch glimpses of broken homes and snarls of violent gardens. Little patches where something was harvested or rotted away. At the farthest edge of town, a particularly high tangle of these ancient vines holds a scarecrow at a dangerous angle. We both lean forward to try and get a better look. Dressed in red, brass buttons shining, and it somehow still got its hat nailed to its head. He's bent back, like he's trying to stay as far as possible from whatever grows here, forced to watch from his perch of black wood. When we pass by, the train lights up the scarecrow for just a moment. Was her outfit actually red? Or gray and covered in blood? Its face, if you squinted just so, looked like it was screaming. And the flashing lights, the vines, seemed to flex and coil around it like snakes. But the train pulls their dead, dry leaves off as it roars past. They fly away into the night, and the entire town vanishes with them into darkness as the train is swallowed by a tunnel at the base of a jagged mountain. The comfort of the dark noise is short. When the train slides out the other end, we are high up the snowy mountainside, and cool blue light covers the dark forest below. But our train car has changed. Brown, rusty metal walls, flat, filthy concrete. Instead, rows of seats. Icy air whistles through the razor wire that crisscrosses the open windows. The concierge takes off his glasses, but before he can open his mouth to say anything, we go into another tunnel, and the darkness takes us again. When we come out the other side again, we're not alone. In the middle of the car is a young man. On his back, torn neatly apart, but still alive enough to be twitching. He's bent backward over a big old pumpkin. Thorny vines keep his arms tied to his legs. They wrap around his chest and neck, and what's left of his mouth. Thorns poke into him deeply, and old blood congeals at his wounds thickly. A slow pounding draws Concierge's attention to a wet, brownish metal tank. There's a matching one on my end of the car. Faster, frantic pounding comes from this one. He pushes the only handle on his tank, and with rusty effort, it slides open to reveal a little bright blue window leaking water. He peers in closer and chuckles to himself. I jerk the handle on the tank on my end of the car. My window is blood orange and flickering. I peer in, and a crispy black and red hand pounds on the window desperately. Concierge. We look at each other over the bent and broken map between us. I think we're almost home. He smiles at me, nodding, and the train plunges on into another dark tunnel.